Ryder Cup in Chicago. 26-year-old Ryder Cup rookie alongside Phil Mickelson, and for a couple of days, I mean, he had his chest out, he had his chin out there, he had his fists in the air. He was the American Ian Poulter. And the U.S. was blowing out Europe. They were up 10-4 at one point until Ian Poulter showed up and rescued the Europeans. They went to Sunday down 10-6, and the rest is sweet history for the Europeans. Playing some good golf, thought maybe he would be selected by Zach Johnson for the 2023 team in Rome as a player. As part of that Netflix Full Swing series, the call came, and it was a bitter disappointment for Keegan and his family. Vintage Keegan, though, he gets back up and gets right back in the thick of it. He played some beautiful golf. He's named, surprisingly for a lot of people, including Keegan, named the captain. Thought to be an outsider, not part of that clique. That's what sort of shocked people. But again, the big story, the run-up to this Ryder Cup was, would he play and captain at the same time? And obviously he opted just for the captain's role. There he is with his assistants. Bryson DeChambeau, he had to manage Bryson. And let's welcome Johnson Wagner alongside Paulie and Brandel. So, Wags, what'd you think of the job that Keegan did?
Everything I heard from all the players, all the other captains, was glowing. I mean, obviously you would expect that, but I think he did an okay job. But
okay.
I think what this Ryder Cup has taught me is that the captain matters more than people think. And when you look at the European team and y'all's structure of the way you go about it, it is so far and above better than the way we do it. And I think if we don't start taking and I think we're trying. I think it's the void that Tiger Woods has left behind. That it was Phil's team and it was Tiger's team, and there was a divide. And I think that we're starting to, and I'm hoping more than anything, this Snedeker, Kisner, whatever it looks like going forward, I think we're set up for a really good future of the Ryder Cup. But right now, I'm sorry, but the U.S. team is broken. Since 1995, we're 4-11. It's wrong. And to another point, this is going to be an unpopular opinion, and I know it's been made a lot, but the President's Cup hurts the American Ryder Cup team.
Why?
We have to play, not have to, get to. That's part of the problem right there. Those guys play this tournament every year, and I'm not putting the President's Cup on the level of a Ryder Cup. Scotty Scheffler in his post-round interview said going five sessions is tough. I'm exhausted. It's probably the most grueling week of the year for these players, more so than majors, I would say. Physically, emotionally, all the stuff they do at night with the galas and the fans and the autographs, it's emotionally taxing, and I just think we've got to take a hard look in the mirror and figure out how to do this. And so another thing, since 1995, who would you say would be the best Ryder Cup captain?
Who has been?
Yes.
For the United States?
Yes.
Azinger.
Thank you.
Azinger was terrific, but
and,
they've had omissions.
But do you see Paul Azinger out here? No. You know who you see from the European side? Olafable, Bjorn,
good point.
Paul. It's like we need. And Furyk was there, and I'm not knocking the American captaincy. I just think it's not working at Bethpage, in New York, at one of our greatest home course venues. I've changed my tune about the captaincy and the structure and amount of work and the attention to detail. Changing shampoo in the hotel rooms, that was unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, details matter. We talked about that in great detail last night.
It didn't make any difference to Sepp Straka.
And that's it too. They give each other grief. They're not coddling each other. Yes, Paul.
You make some really good points, and we've always been surprised in Europe as to how different an approach there is to the President's Cup compared to the Ryder Cup. There is no joined-up thinking here. There looks to be, anyway, no joined-up thinking. Two separate organizations that don't help each other. Two brothers, if you want to call it, PGA of America and PGA Tour. They should be brothers. And yet, when it comes to the team events, there doesn't seem to be joined-up thinking. There doesn't seem to be a connection between the captains running through the President's Cup, learning a part of the job, and then evolving into the Ryder Cup. There doesn't seem to be an evolution of younger players getting trialed in the President's President's Cup and then going every single time America puts out the best players that they can get, and they go to the President's Cup and they win so easily every time. It's not really a competitive event, and it's amazing that you don't use it. One of the give you a little bit.
I'm going to push back on that a little bit. I think they do use it. Like now, Snedeker's the next captain of the president. I think we're building for the future. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe so. But one of the things, you know, when we did a whole debrief, we remember. Let's not forget here that we are brilliant at Ryder. We know we do get things wrong. And in 2021, we lost by a record margin. Wags. We lost by 10 points in whistling straights, and this was a real motivation to our team. And the motivation was that we absolutely got killed over here. There was a lot of headwinds, granted, but we, you know, metaphorically, we lost, you know, very, very heavily by the biggest margin any team had ever lost. So we did we talked about this in Rome. I remember talking with you two about it. It was a root and branch total review of what happened in Whistling Straits and what things we could fix. And one of the things, the biggest thing that came out with all the debrief from the players, and particularly the younger players and us on the edges of the team looking in, was that we stopped having an addition of the Seve Trophy in non-Ryder Cup years, and we needed to bring that back. And we brought it back. We didn't have money to bring it back. We didn't have a sponsor. We couldn't get a sponsor. That's why it's called the Team Cup, because we don't have a sponsor. So people talk about the money this week and it going back into the European Tour. Well, several $7 million of that comes to put on the Team Cup this year. A lot of that money came out to put it in. So the point is, we invest in the team. We're constantly investing in the team. And it's not, okay, the shampoo's a nice little touch and all that, but it's not stuff like that. I mean, that's the periphery stuff. You know, they talked about when I had the goldfish, and that made a big deal in media because it's a headline. But it's not the real underneath the floorboard stuff that we do. There is so much more that we do. And I'm surprised
but it raises a question. And we hear this in the sport, that the Ryder Cup to Europeans means as much as a major. Is that true?
Certainly your legacy in Europe is very much attached to your performance as a Ryder Cup player. We spoke earlier in the week about this, about the 4 majors in the Ryder Cup have moved on this trajectory. PGA Tour has gone this way. You know, you've got LIV now, you've got the DP World Tour, you know, and they're all doing well, playing for more money, and events seem to be getting bigger. But the 4 majors in the Ryder Cup, since the divide in the game, have gone to another level. So you're very much identified as a player, and your legacy is connected with your performance in those 4 plus the Ryder Cup. And one of the things Rory's talking about too, he's looking at his legacy as well, and not just to being a Grand Slam winner, but now, as he said himself, I want to win an away Ryder Cup and I want to win a home one. That's twice he's won away from home now, part of a team that has won in the Ryder Cup, and in time he'll be a Ryder Cup captain as well. And you know, that's a huge part of legacy. You know, we used to have this saying at home, you know, when you win a major, you're respected. When you become a Ryder Cup player, you're loved by the crowd.
It's great. Brandel, anything else?
Look, the President's Cup is a completely different animal, obviously, than the Ryder Cup. They're not playing a coalesced team. They play a very good team, but, you know, it's really hard to get them to coalesce towards a common goal of playing for a tour. The Ryder Cup team plays for their tour. They're playing for their tour. In the President's Cup, the United States is playing for their tour. I think over the years, I think there's been some reluctance, comparatively speaking, to Europe to come together, and to the extent that Europe does on the Ryder Cup team, the United States, I don't think, comes together as much. And when Tiger was asked about his record in the Ryder Cup, he said, can you tell me what Jack Nicklaus's record was? And he was, at least to some extent, I thought, insinuating it's not that big a deal to us. It doesn't matter as much to us as it does to Europe. And look, I mean, we're all grateful for the things that Tiger Woods has done, but, you know, we scratch our head at his record in the Ryder Cup. We scratch our head at Phil Mickelson's record in the Ryder Cup. We scratch our head at the United States record in the Ryder Cup. Because quite simply, it does not mean as much to the United States players as it does to Europe, and you just heard about it. So their Team Cup that he's talking about is an event that is used to prepare for the Ryder Cup, to absolutely test captains, vice captains, players, pairings, and then to begin a message to get the players ready to play in the Ryder Cup. I don't know that the President's Cup is anywhere close to that. If it were, how has Fred Couples never been named the Ryder Cup captain, for crying out loud?
Agreed.
How? Tell me how. How is, by the way, Justin Leonard never been named the Ryder Cup captain? Tell me the most important putt in the history of the Ryder Cup for the U.S., and tell me it's not Justin Leonard's putt. Tell me that.
100%.
And Justin Leonard, to me, in terms of emotional intelligence, humbleness, thoughtfulness, attention to detail, to me, he is and could be, he's a budding Luke Donald. He's a budding Paul McGinley, and an extraordinary record.
So where is he?
I had Luke.
That's what we're talking about.
Luke was on my wife and I's podcast, and we talked about this. I was like, how in the heck are you not the Ryder Cup captain? You look at the players that they've picked, and no disrespect, but you know, Keegan Bradley, everybody can rally around him. He's full of passion and all that. I get that, but he's played in just 2 Ryder Cups in his career. If you look at the last 10 Ryder Cup captains for the United States, they've played an average of 5. A lot more experience, obviously. And again, I just look at Justin and I'm like, again, Fred Couples not the Ryder Cup captain? Blows my mind. Justin Leonard should be the Ryder Cup captain next go-around, if it's not Fred Couples.
The only point I'll make on that, Randall, is a difference with Europe is that it's not just putting a captain in place and getting a named person to put it in place. It's the empowering they get. You know, and
say that again to me.
The empowering the captain.
Yes.
You know, sharing knowledge with him, putting him in a position where he can succeed.
Yes.
You know, giving him a budget, getting creative people around him to spark ideas with him. And I think that's where we really get ahead of America. We have an amazing creative team behind. I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about the people, the backbone of the European Tour who work specifically on Ryder Cup. Their creativity. You know, the people that worked in the Team Cup, the exact same people, the back room, from doing the uniforms to organising transport, organising dinners, everything we do that look after the team, the exact same people are at the Ryder Cup. So when you graduate from there to there, you know them, you have a relationship with them, you know how they operate. We try to make every single thing, although it's on a different level, exact same in the Team Cup than it is over here. So there's a flow, and players hit the ground running, and particularly when it comes to rookies.
It's a sophisticated, holistic operation, and I mentioned it. Luke is like your CEO. The United States changed the paradigm this time around. They didn't go for sort of the lifetime achievement guy. They went young, current player, and it didn't quite work out.